Hello, and today in this video I'll be showing you how to create a simple Python program that can help you solve your maths problems faster. In this video I'll be focusing on volume. So let's begin. First we need to create a variable called kind. And remember, in Python you don't have anything before the variable. You just simply write the variable name equal to and then its value. So you could say 0 or a kind of string. However, we'll be doing input. Input is this input function. The input function is this. It takes input from the user, as in the name. Now we put double colons, and remember to put the round brackets, otherwise Python doesn't know whether it's in the function or not. Now let's say, is it a rectangular prism, cube, triangular prism, or cylinder? Okay, so now let's just go all the way back. Okay, now let's write the next line of code, which is our loop. Let's just comment. Remember, to comment you have to put a hash. Say loop. If kind equal to, and we will be saying cylinder. Put the colon, otherwise it doesn't know whether it's inside the loop or not, whether the condition has ended or not. Next, we will be making three variables: radius, height, and of course volume. Equal to. Okay, now let's just say float, or actually let's just start without float. Let's start with input. You'll see why I will put float later. Input, and then let's see the question it's going to ask. So enter the radius. Let's say enter the radius, input, enter the height, and then we just need to say let's just use the formula that is. So pi, we'll take a section of pi 3.14 times radius times radius. Now you could do radius power 2, which is radius steric 2. We'll get to that in a sec. Let's just do this, space it out, and times height. Okay, so now we have this. Now let's just try it out. Cylinder. We say enter the radius. Radius is 6. Height 5. Error. Now why is it an error? Because it's non-int type of float. So now we need float. You'll see why we need float, because int or float, they're for numbers, but the input only takes in a string from what you write. That's why we put a string on the equal to, which is the comparator operation for Python. So we need to put float, round bracket, and round bracket. Put round bracket here just for being fast, and float, round bracket. We have this, and should work now. Let's see. So cylinder, enter radius 6, 5, and it doesn't do anything. Well, it actually is, but we have to print it. Print volume. Now, if it is in a decimal, we will have to round it. So Python has an operation function for that. So round, bracket, comma 2, or 3. 3 if you want to round to 3 decimals or 1,000. 2 if you want to do nearest hundredth. Okay, we'll do with 2. for now. Now let's write it again. Cylinder 6 5 565.2, and so that's our answer. Now let's move on to the next one. So let's now try something like a cube. So we're, instead of else if, which is in JavaScript, this, we in Python it's elif. Now we have to do elif kind equal to, and of course cube. Now we have this comparator. Now we need to put the colon, then we have to do radius, not radius, side equals to float input, enter side, volume equal to side times side times side. Now you could do this, or you could say side. Now steric is power 3, so side power 3, which is the same as side times side times side, but let's just do side times side times side for now. You can do as you like. Now let's try this out. Round, or we could just copy it from the top one. Okay, so we copied this from here, and let's see, will it work? Cube, enter a side, say 8 512. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing. So let's just test out the part of our calculator. So 6 and 9, let's say. So cylinder 6 9 1017.36. That's correct. Okay, now let's move on to our next one, the rectangular prism. So the rectangular prism is very similar to the cube. Why is this? Because it is the same formula. I just use one variable since it's a cube. It has same sides all the time. So I will just copy this instead of having to write everything down. So we have elif, call this, and now we say rectangular prism. So now we have rectangular prism. Now we need to delete this. We need to say length and then width and then height, and of course volume is already there. So now we have to write float input, enter the length, float input, enter the width, float input, float input, and let's say enter the height. Okay, so now, this is very simple because we just need to say length times width times height and round volume 2. Now we'll say 3 because it will do the same and it still works for hundredths most of the time. Now we will copy the rectangular prism one after we have finished. So let's start with rectangular prism. Enter the length. So now, so we can just put any length, so we'll say 10, we'll say 9, we'll say 3, 270. Okay, so that's our answer. Let's try one more example. Say Prism. Enter the length, so 10, width 3, height 7, 210. Okay, so yeah, now let's move on to our next one, which is the triangular prism. Elif kind equal to triangular prism. In fact, we just need to write this much. Why? Because we just need to copy this. And we need to copy this because it's just in the volume. We just need to add 0.5 times length times width times height. And that's it. We have done triangular prism 2. Now let's check this with an example. So triangular prism. Enter the length. So you can say length, so 10, 6, 10, 300. Okay, feel free to check these for yourself. And feel free to change the program. Let's just try one more example. Triangular prism. Enter the length 10, enter the width 3, 5, 75. You see how fast this has become. Now we can solve anything as fast as possible. Rectangular prism. Enter the length, say 8, 6, 6. Now we have 288. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye!